Now, I want to shift gears to the TSA. Let's put the article on screen. This man needs our support. Internal TSA documents, body scanners, pat-downs, not for terrorists. And then the update article, this gentleman we have on, this is a public document they put out. They've now removed it off the federal website, saying that they admit that the TSA is not for terrorists, but it's just basically for currency controls and internal checkpoints. And then now they've come out and censored him. That's the article. They've come out and told John Corbett that they're going to arrest him or gag order him or whatever if he talks about TSA outofourpants.wordpress.com, if he talks about a document somebody released that they weren't supposed to release. Unprecedented censorship of the press. Sir, you're on the air. Thank you for coming on with us. Give us your take on this, John Corbett.
Well, it's quite interesting. So you guys published that doc, and the next day I got a call from the court and from the opposing counsel, the U.S. Attorney's Office, basically telling me that I'm the only person in the world that's not allowed to talk about this document because even though it's public, it's technically sealed, which is an interesting take on it.
That's right. I mean, this is the war on the press or the war on the citizen, free speech. Unprecedented. Tell us who called you. You warned her. You said, don't you know about the Streisand effect? Tell folks about that.
Correct. So after I got the call to stop talking, I asked the U.S. Attorney, I said, this is public. This is on InfoWars. It's got millions of people looking at it already. If I stop talking about it and I censor myself and I take it down, it's just going to have more people looking at it. But the U.S. Attorney didn't seem to understand perhaps how mass media works, how internet works, and it's going to backfire on them. It has already backfired. Continue breaking this down. Sure. So well, it all started when I filed a brief in my case against the TSA's nude body scanners and their pat-downs. And the brief was based on a bunch of private documents that the TSA had to provide me as a result of my case. The court ordered me not to share them, and I followed the court's orders to the letter by filing a sealed brief, which the court then promptly published publicly by accident. It was an interesting scandal up there at the 11th Circuit, and now they're backpedaling. They're trying to cover this up. They're trying to take the documents down. But the documents are quite embarrassing. I still can't talk about what's in them, but your listeners and viewers can definitely go to your website to find the documents. That's right. We're linked to Scrib on there on the website. We're going to come back, and I know in America you're not allowed to talk just because they called you and they're God. And usually you'd say, well, you got free speech. You can talk about something they put out publicly. But in the new system where they have armored vehicles and killers standing by, at this point, till we take America back, you cannot talk about the document that they released on accident because, well, they have guns and they have armored vehicles.
Do you understand how dark it is? How far down the line we are? How late it is?
Well, we have John Corbett, thought criminal, in the year 2013. In a federal court case, the TSA admitted in testimony. The documents are linked up on Infowars.com. They've taken it off Pacer.gov, both the redacted and the unredacted one. So the one they accidentally put out and the one that by law is supposed to be out, they've pulled that. Because the TSA is admitting it's all a total fraud, the body scanners, everything. And our guest has been threatened with arrest if he talks about the document, because I guess they see him at TSA out of our pants as their #1 enemy. John Corbett, I mean, why are you following this verbal threat by the Commissar? And who is the Commissar? Or can you even tell us her name? I mean, her name is in the article. Sure. So the opposing attorney is with the Department of Justice. Her name is Sharon Swingle. She works on many TSA cases. And I'm following it because I'm essentially being indirectly threatened with a criminal contempt of court charge, potentially a felony that could send me to jail. So in the meantime, to clear things up, I've asked the court to clarify whether or not I can now talk about this document, which is public. And it's interesting that you actually brought up that the redacted version, the one that's supposed to be public, has been taken down as well. And I think the reason for that is that the TSA demanded that they get a chance to review that document before it goes public.
which is some kind of right that they've taken unto themselves. The idea that opposing counsel can demand to review a document before it's posted.
Sure. What do you make of your little friends now announcing, it was in the Associated Press yesterday, that they're spying on where you work, what you buy, what you do? NSA spying just mainlined. Now the TSA are on the streets and are watching everybody. They are the secret police. Yeah,
it's something that we should have seen coming, and you and I did see coming, I'm sure, Alex. But the TSA started the Secure Flight program, whereby they take everyone's name and try and do things against a background check. And I don't know if everyone that's listening knows, but the TSA gets all of that information from the airlines well in advance. So when you book a ticket, that information gets to the TSA well before, days before you ever get to
the airlines get the Google stuff, what you surf, what you do, where you work. So basically, what size diaphragm you use, the TSA person doesn't just get a photo of your breast and your body or your tallywhacker. They get everything. They even know what brand of medicine you buy, which I think they should know. I think they should rule everything. I love North Korea.
Yeah, you're right. So they started by getting all this information from the airline, but think they're getting from the airline your name, your date of birth, your address, your phone number, your email address, all that good stuff. And imagine where they can go from there. From there, they can access all of their government databases, all the FBI background checks, NCIS. They can go to non-public or to private databases such as Equifax, go to your credit report. And it's come out that they're doing this, and the question has to be why. What have they done that has shown that any of that will actually reduce the risk of terrorism? By the way, there is pretty limited evidence of risk of terrorism. So what terrorism are we trying to reduce, and will this actually reduce it is the question.
Well, let's get down to brass tacks. This is an internal security force for Capitol controls. I saw a meeting in 2002 with TSA before DHS was even cabinet level, with a roundtable group on C-SPAN with hundreds of members of corporations there represented. And they said, to get a job, you'll go through TSA. They'll have highway checkpoints, everything. And I've been talking about it ever since. It's not like I just guessed all this was coming. This is a total takeover plan. Ron Paul's right. The border fence is to keep us in. It's just a total takeover.
You're right, and you're right about the cash control. There's even evidence. The TSA reports basically two things to law enforcement. Number one is when someone brings a small amount of drugs through the checkpoint that they forgot in their pocket, and number two is if you try and bring more than about $5,000 worth of currency, they'll report that to Customs and Border Patrol.
And they download your computers without warrants, and your iPhones and everything else, and again squeeze your junk. So it's a free country.
Yeah, it used to be.
Well, they're talking about arresting people that talk bad about the dear leader. So, and of course, they're threatening to arrest you. In fact, are you allowed to talk about the threats you got, or?
Yeah, I can talk about pretty much anything but the contents of that sealed brief.
So, what did she threaten you with lovingly?
The threats are vague but implied. They tell you that essentially bad things will happen if you end up doing this. And
so it's the same way the Chicago mob would be like, you need to do what you're told or bad things will happen.
Yeah, exactly. It's a shame.
Oh, I see your kid walking to school.
It's a shame that something might happen to it.
I hope your kid doesn't get run over. All right. Well, thank you so much, Thought Criminal. John Corbett, TSA, outofourpants.wordpress.com. And here in the free country, they're targeting him. We'll be right back.
Now you can watch Alex Jones live at Infowars.com/show.
You'll find links to all of our content there and a free 15-day trial for Prison Planet TV.
You can also browse the network, the InfoWars Nightly News,
and over 60 movies and documentaries all together in one place.
You can watch the Alex Jones radio show live as it happens.
So check it out, Infowars.com/show.